John Mbadi, I'm telling you, this is Finance Economics 101. I'm learning a lot this evening on economics and finance and debt and all that stuff, and I hope you are too. So, Waziri, let's go straight to USAID.
Yes.
Trump administration mentioned it's going to shut down all operations across the world.
Yeah.
That's going to affect Kenya, East Africa, the whole continent, but most importantly, the medical field.
Yeah.
We're going to be adversely affected.
Yes.
Can you breach that gap? Can you help that out?
Yeah, Jeff, you know, America, the U.S. is the biggest economy, and any decision that is taken by the U.S. affects everyone and everybody. And this executive order by the president, the new president of America, I don't know whether it's new, but it's new.
The old new.
The old new,
yes.
The new term, has affected all economies. For Kenya, I want to point out that the support that we are getting from the U.S. government, and more particularly USAID, has always been off budget. Not budgetary support, not any program that is captured in our budget estimates, but there is understanding. We had understanding of commitments through USAID and other implementing agencies. A lot of support was in health. There was also education, there was agriculture, there was advocacy and civil rights and support to our electoral process and all that. The total of this cumulatively is about 52 billion Kenya shillings. So that is a hole, that's a gap.
Yep.
More particularly, the health sector is critical. We cannot do without. Now, I took the first, immediately this came out, I became proactive and took a step of inviting the ambassador, but the representatives came through commercial attaché, the finance, and they came and made a presentation to me. We discussed, and so the following will not be affected. Emergency food support will not be affected with this executive order. Also the infectious diseases. And finally, the Haiti program. And I'm mentioning this Haiti because I saw my friend, Manstivo.
Yes.
My friend was actually a co-principal.
Yes.
A very significant principal in my coalition.
Correct.
Talking about us putting 2.5 billion. That money, we are putting it in the budget, but it will be in and out and in. So
what do you mean out and in?
We are going to get the reimbursement. The figures are there. We've been getting reimbursements on this fund.
Yes.
So it's not an expenditure that the people of Kenya will shoulder, finally. So I wanted just to clarify that. Haiti program is still going to be supported. That is the information that I got from the U.S. Embassy. So out of the 100 programs that they've been running in the country with various implementing partners, only 15 programs will remain.
Worth about, from 52 billion, worth about what?
They are yet to give me the exact numbers, but it's around that. So we are assuming that we are likely to lose 52. But the critical areas like health, which we want to get the amounts, I wish I carried the amount. There is also education, support to certain counties like Kilifi, like counties at the coast. There is support they were giving Kakamega County, there was the Nakuru County and many others. Yeah. Now, this, especially the health programs, we must realign our budgets to fill in the gap. We have no choice. Kenyans must still continue. Those who are receiving support through ARVs must get, malaria must get, and such like. It is still not very clear what is considered infectious diseases. But you see, they are talking a lot about cases like Ebola, should it erupt, and such like the one that has just erupted in northern Kenya, Kala. Is it called Kalaza?
Yes, Kalaza.
Yeah, it has killed some people there. We had to release some emergency support to Wajir County to support that.
That they will support?
Those ones they support, the infectious diseases.
Yeah.
So this, it's going to hurt us, it's going to affect us, but we just have to live. By the way, Jeff, let me also put it this way. We must start looking inwards as a country. Long gone are days that we would still depend on our friends from the West, more particularly. Why? Look, this executive order has not just affected the programs that were run by the U.S. in the developing countries. they are reducing and possibly I think they may discontinue support to Ukraine war. Yeah. Europe is going to divert resources to Ukraine. So even the support that we are getting from European countries, like the support we are getting from Italy, even the support we are getting from UK, the support we are getting from Japan, many other countries may not be forthcoming. We must start thinking progressively how to survive. Our economies must now survive. It is a reality check, and we must live with it. So as we try to mitigate the effects of this executive order by Trump, we must also start thinking of how much are we getting in terms of support from these other economies, which may not be coming in the near future.
Yeah. And the best way to raise revenue locally would be what now?
The best way to raise revenue locally is to grow our economies. How do we grow our economies? There are certain sectors of the economies which are not responding well. We have 3 sectors which we are targeting. We have seen a contraction in the construction sector. And the reasons are numerous. One of them is the issue of the pending bills, which has affected the road construction and therefore contracting. The other one is the high interest rates. If you look at what has been happening, especially post-COVID, is that the loan uptake by private sector has been going down, contracting, and minimal. Why? Because the interest rates have been going up. Fortunately, Jeff, in the recent months, especially from the month of August, coincidentally, when I came into the office, the interest rates have been going down, more particularly on government paper. The 91-day Treasury bill, when I came into office, was trading at 15.6%. In fact, it was 16.5% by January last year. Today, it is 8.9%. Wow. I think the lowest may be seen only during Kibaki's time. Now, what does that mean, Jeff? Let me just put it into perspective. Some people ask, so how does that help? If 91-day Treasury bill is trading at below 9%, for example, from 16%, let's work with 16.9.
Okay.
If you look at the composition of our domestic debt, 15% of our domestic debt is in terms of Treasury bills. That is 91 days, 182, and 364, less than 1 year. Now, 15% of our domestic debt is about 900 billion shillings. If you take that 900 billion shillings, if we convert the loans that were at 16%, where we were paying interest at 16%, Jeff, and we convert them all to new loan of 9%, because we take domestic debt to repay domestic debt. Right. Is debt refinancing. Now, if you just take that simple arithmetic and you keep that in 1 year, what is the effect? You are reducing interest from 16 to 9, that is 7%. 7% of 900 billion shillings is 63 billion. So in a year, you'll be saving 63 billion shillings just by reducing the rates on government paper. That 63 billion shillings, Jeff, is what you need. You need 48 billion, 48.8 for capitation to schools for first term. So 63 billion can pay capitation to schools. And you have some change. And you have some change. So those are steps. So that is something that has happened progressively, and that has seen banks now lowering their interest rate. KCB lowered their interest rates by 2 percentage points. I remember the equity reduced from 17.4 to 14.3. 17.3 to 14.3, that is 3% drop. KCB, 2%. Ecobank, 2% in the month of February. And this was as a result of, we have been lowering, through central bank, the CRB rates, okay? Yeah. And also, for the, in the month of February, the CRB rate has come down. Last year, from last year, July, when it was 13%, it has come down to 10.75%. Now, the other percentage that has come down is CRR rate, the cash reserve ratio. Cash reserve ratio simply means how much banks are required to hold in terms of liquidity. So that has come down from 4.25% to 3.25%, meaning you have released more money to the market to be loaned.
And yet the Mwananchi is not feeling the effect of that release of the money.
But you see, when the interest rate, Jeff, comes down, now you can borrow cheaply. You know, this talk, Jeff, also don't be too fixed. Mwananchi is not feeling. Now, if the bank rates come down, you are supposed to feel it. You can go to the bank and feel it. Yeah? Mm. But that is not to say that now everything is perfect. We are still working to make things better. You know this story, Jeff, sometimes I also tell people it's like in jest, but but it's also just serious. Mm. You know, someone asked me, Mbadi, why are we not feeling money in our pockets? I said, yes, there are a number of reasons. One of them is what I've just talked about, that people have not been able to take credit. Yeah. Another one is that government has not been paying suppliers, and that we will come back to. But also, let me tell you, there is no time that people will say that now we have money in our pockets. Can I explain to you? Hmm. People now praise Kibaki, that Kibaki economics worked. Yeah. They call it Kibakinomics.
Kibakinomics.
But I remember, Jeff, and you were with me in this country. When Kibaki was in office, people were saying the same things that we are saying today. That why are these things you are talking about, growth, development? Kibaki is a capitalist. Yeah. He's only thinking about big business people. But today, what are we saying? Kibaki did a fantastic job. So probably one day when Mbadi leaves office, you will start saying that Mbadi did well. They brought down Mbadi and President Ruto did well. Because yes. By the end of the day, this is the government of President William Ruto. He has given me the work. Of course, through my party leader, Jeff. Yeah? Sure. So, but we are working for the people of Kenya. So I hope one day people will say, yes, the government worked, Central Bank did a good job, Treasury also did management of the fiscal side, the monetary side, Central Bank, these two organizations worked together. They brought down the interest rates chargeable on the government paper to 9%, 8.9%. The banks lowered the rates. People started taking credit. Economy started expanding. But there's something that I left that I wanted to talk about. That you see we have seen some sectors which have been struggling. Mm. I talked about construction sector has been contracting. And then there is also the mining sector. And finally, the manufacturing sector. Yeah. These three sectors are the ones that we are focusing on. If we can get back those three sectors to contribute to their fair share of economic growth, then our economy will grow at even much higher than 5.4% that we are projecting in the medium term. Okay. Consolidated fund. Yes. The control of budget. Yes. Dr. Margaret Nyakanga, she said deductions from SHIF and housing levy are not ending up in CFS. Where is this money going? Jeff, we have a constitution. Jeff, this gentleman seated right in front of you, I helped to enact, helped to generate, helped to prepare the Public Finance Management Act that we have today. That act, together with the Constitution, says that all monies collected and raised on behalf of the people of Kenya will be, or shall be, in fact the word is shall be, deposited into the consolidated fund, except and unless there is that same has been directed to a fund created for a purpose. So the law allows you to create a fund and channel resources to that fund without the funds going to consolidated fund. That fund will also be audited. Mm-hmm. So that is the answer. These are funds created for specific purposes, and we have many of them. We don't just have those two. We have road maintenance levy. Mm-hmm. It's also a fund. So there are funds where the money doesn't have to go to the consolidated fund. That does not mean that there is anything irregular, anything fraudulent, unless that money that was supposed to be directed to that fund has not been directed to the fund or has been misappropriated. So what I would be waiting for is the Auditor General, not even Controller of Budget, to tell Kenyans that yes, you set up a fund called Social Health Insurance Fund. This money was supposed to come to that fund and it didn't come. Or this money came to that fund and it was misappropriated. That is why we have independent officers. All right? So I would support the independent officers, including the Controller of Budget, to discharge their responsibility. The Controller of Budget's responsibility is limited to withdrawals from consolidated fund. It is the people of Kenya who decided to create the law and the constitution.
Yeah. Okay, there was talk the other day, there was a headline saying that the government is thinking of tolling some roads to raise something like 4.3 trillion shillings. Does that make sense?
Well, I don't know where that figure came from. I don't know whether we would really raise 4 point. You know, Jeff, at times I laugh when I see some of these sensational stories. You know, 4.3 trillion is our entire budget expenditure.
Yes.
How do you raise that from road tolling of the roads? Unless you are telling me to pay the price of my car to drive to Kisumu. It's not possible. We know that. But tolling may be there. And tolling can be...
Are you for it?
I am for tolling, by the way. Let me explain. You know, people should be charged for services.
But we already pay for the road maintenance levy.
True.
You know, construction of the road.
Exactly. That is why I'm saying that we must look at the way we structure our payment so that those who use the roads, pay. So we need to balance off. There is already road maintenance levy. Yeah. Okay? What of this tolling? How much should we charge? So that we are also fair to Kenyans. And we charge, you know, in the principle of taxation that you must be respected is equity, fairness. Those two are very important. So be equitable. If I am using a road more, I should pay more than you who is not using it. So a system should come around. If you are driving your car, for example, Jeff, to here, and you park it, and me, I'm using my car, maybe very goods on the same road. Yeah. The way I use that road is not the same way. So we must have a system that recognizes that. So the tolling can be done, but it should not be done in a way that it hurts Kenyans. And people should also have alternative. If you are tolling me on this, I should have another alternative. If you are tolling me for convenience, because there are people who want to move fast.
Like the Nairobi Expressway.
Yes, and go. And that is why I've been talking about we cannot be stuck going to our homes in December. Jeff, when you are going to your home here, you take a few minutes.
Yes.
And you are in your home.
Correct.
We take almost a day to reach our homes. I should have that option that there is a road that is done for me. I will pay maybe 200, 300, or even 500, but I will be in my home in the next 4 hours and enjoy my fish from the lake when it is still fresh. I call my mother if she was still alive, like I used to call her. I wish she was still there. And tell her, Mom, I'm leaving Nairobi now. In the next 4 hours, I want to eat my fish, fresh from the lake. Now, if you do that, you will end up the following day when it has to be warmed for you to eat.
Correct.
So what we are saying is if we can have a system where we develop these roads.
With an alternative.
With alternative. If you want to stay a little longer and you don't want to stay, or maybe you don't even have the money, that 500.
Yeah.
There are Kenyans who cannot afford it.
Correct.
If I can't afford it, I should have an option of taking longer. But you will also balance that with the fuel that you are using and on that traffic. Majority will prefer quick, 3-lane way, 3-lane this side, 6 lanes. That is what we want. And by the way, we are going to develop this road.
All the way?
We will develop.
All the way?
We will develop the road.
Okay.
We are developing Rironi, Njoro. Already we are getting PPP program. I think we'll get that. The roads ministry is at a very advanced stage. Then from Njoro,
yes,
we are looking for finances, possibly concessionary loan. We do it. So that we also, Jeff, we also pay taxes in this country. We have thicker superhighway.
Yes.
It's helping the people going that direction. And we love it because all the sukuma wiki we eat and all the mboga we eat come from that direction.
It's coming from that side.
Isn't it?
Yes.
We also want fish to come from Lake Victoria and arrive here fresh.
Fresh?
Yes.
Not a day old?
No, you need to eat fresh fish.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tilapia.
I think you don't know how fish tastes properly. Proper tilapia, or even bota, Nile perch. Please eat that fish. It is very nice, very delicious.
Yeah?
I know many people fear it. It is the one I love most.
Are you serious? Mbuta?
Apart from omena.
Omena. But omena is too smelly, eh?
Oh, you don't know how to cook omena.
Aye.
Whoever is cooking for you omena, please ask that person to come for training. Omena is the most delicious fish. If you didn't know. Thank you.
And you eat the whole thing?
What? Which the whole thing?
The whole omena.
But omena is too small. How do you leave part of it, Jeff? Jeff, I think you should visit me. How do you omena? In fact, you can't eat one omena. You have to eat many of them.
A whole bunch.
Put in your mouth.
Yes.
A whole bunch. Yeah. How do you eat one single omena? You are interesting.
You have to invite me.
Thank you. I will invite you.
Before I go to the magic wall, a lot of people are asking the question because the president has a lot of economic advisors. So the one question they're asking is, between you and David Mbadi, who's running the show?
Jeff, there is nothing wrong with anybody having advisors, more particularly the president. President must understand also how things run, the economy. A president who doesn't care is not worth being in that office. And I will tell you that having advisors is a good thing. But who is the official advisor on matters of finance in this country to the president? John Mbadi. It's nobody else. I'm the official advisor. I am the cabinet secretary for National Treasury. But let me tell you, those advisors also add a lot of value to me. Actually, they don't just advise the president alone. I engage them. Yeah. They come to my office. Sometimes we disagree. They bring up ideas which I don't agree with. David Mbadi is an economist. Hassan is an accountant. Yeah. By the way, let me tell you, I'm an accountant. Sometimes we disagree, and accountants and economists, a lot of times we don't agree. You know, sometimes we look at economists, we see they are too theoretical. They have a lot of theories and macroeconomic phenomena. We are more practical as accountants. But they sometimes tell us we are very shallow, you know. But we tell them, no, we are not shallow. We are finance analysts. So we disagree, we agree. Finally, we arrive at a middle ground. And we advise the president. So I hope you didn't call me here, Jeff, to ask me how I advise the president. No, I haven't asked you that at all. Yeah. So this question of who is calling the shots. Yeah, who's calling the shots? Do you see me as someone who can be a bystander? Who just sits there and things happen. And takes instructions. And takes instructions. And do you feel I don't understand what is happening in our economy? I tell you, you know your numbers. Yeah, so then you know your numbers. Where is this question coming from? I understand, David Mbadi understands, the president understands. That is how the government can run. It is our duty to sit the president down and tell him, these are the numbers, these are the debts, this is what we want to do, these are the taxes, these are the effect, we want to reduce this. Now Kenyans are crying that they are being overtaxed, and then there is also the housing levy. We are double taxing them. In December 2027, President assented to a bill that now removed that double taxation. Are you not aware? We have to wait till 2027 for that. Which 2027? You just said 2027. 27th of December last year. Oh, you know, the problem with you, Jeff, you are too rich. You don't even see what is in your payslip. Please go back to get your payslip for January, compare it with December, and you will see. And by the way, very soon, you will retire from Royal Media. I'm not calling for your retirement. Yes. You will get your pension. It will be tax-free.
The whole thing?
For the first time since independence. The whole thing, you will take your pension and go home. Because of the amendments we brought in December. And people are saying, Okoa pay slip, Okoa pay slip. They are not even appreciating the little thing. And you know, in fact, there is something I wanted to say about the opposition, yeah? Which I have been in all this time.
Correct.
The difference between Raila Odinga as opposition leader and these opposition leaders of today. Raila Odinga had Economic Council, which was chaired by Neritu Muredi, who is now the chairman of KRA. Correct. I was a member of that board. That council. We were 5 of us. 5. And we could sit down with him and help him. And Raila, being an engineer, he learns very quickly. Understands very quickly. These people talk numbers they don't even understand. They should just constitute a small team. You don't even have to pay your economic council to advise you. When Mbadi brings a BPS, you talk from a point of information. You don't just see a figure, Haiti. Payment, and you start saying, we are spending on Haiti. Someone should tell you it is debit, credit. I don't expect a lawyer to understand that. But someone should tell you before you go and talk. Recently, I saw a former deputy president saying that bombers of Kenya
had been sold.
Has been sold due to Turkey.
Turkish, yes.
2 days before, I'd just signed off a request to release 4.5 billion from tourism fund to develop that facility. A tourism fund from Turkey. Tourism fund is our fund we have set up here. I don't know whether the contractor is from Turkey, that one I don't know. But I signed off myself 4.5 billion. Then I see him, and then he says he was in the cabinet where that decision was taken. How can you, then you call yourself a truthful man? Jeff, let us be honest.
Yeah.
If you want to be truthful, be truthful. If you want to be Mkora, be Mkora. In fact, there are people who have thrived as Wakora in this country. And people love them for being Mkora.
Yeah.
Haven't you seen people who you don't even know their sources of funds?
But they have a lot.
And they are very philanthropic. Like this case you had, they would quickly rush there and even build houses for them. They would get people from mortuaries. People don't know where they have got their money from. There are people who go and kick walls and destroy walls, and they are voted for that. Kenyans also vote for Mkora. So if you want to be a Mkora, please admit I'm a Mkora. If you want to be truthful men, be truthful man. Thank you. You can go to
well done. Time for some feedback. Ayub,
yes.
Lots of tweets coming in thick and fast, huh?
Yes.
Thick and fast.
So we first begin with what Kenyans are saying, because their incorporation is equally significant. Crispinus Adam says, could lowering of taxes and levies on electricity, fuel and basic commodities help grow the economy? Which other areas is the Treasury considering for possible tax cuts to cushion businesses and reduce job cuts?
You see, it is very true that there are some taxes which, if you lower, can put more money into people's pockets and then help in economic growth. Yeah. And that is something we are looking at. Some we even brought with the business law amendment bills of December. We even reduced, I told you, we increased the disposable income by removing the double taxation. We are still looking at how to deal with income tax to make it more friendly. On issue of electricity, fuel, it is true. Cost of energy is one of the most prohibitive part of factor of production. I wish I could read for you. There have been drop in cost of fuel. These are statistics done by Kenya Bureau of Statistics, Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. I have them here, the cost of electricity. Compared 2024 and January 2025, there is a drop. And we want more drop. Fuel prices have come down. You know that?
Yeah.
We want the drop in energy costs, and we are very clear as a government. Wandai knows very well that we must work on lowering cost of electricity by working on electricity production, transmission, and distribution.
Okay.
Right. So this is someone who really understands what he's talking about.
Okay.
Yes.
Crispinus, that's. Okelo Mwalimu says, can CS Mbadi confirm when we should expect a decrease in VAT What would the new rates be and in how many tranches? Secondly, does he think that there is need to continue spending money in salaries and allowances on the President's Council of Economic Advisors? 2 questions.
Now, let me tell you something. I spoke about VAT, and I'm having a meeting next week with my team, the Treasury. There are 2 schools of thought. Actually, my thinking was that we lower VAT from 16 to 14%. There are 2 schools of thought. There are people who believe that lowering VAT may not be very progressive for economic growth, that we would rather target direct personal income. So we have these various thoughts until they are put together and consolidated and we come up with the best strategy. I don't want to commit myself. Now, what would be the rate be? Now, I think I've answered that.
Continue spending in salaries and allowances on the President's Council of Economic Advisors.
You know, the President must also have advisors, Jeff. I am too busy in the Treasury, and the President is equally too busy. If he wants proper engagement, you can have your advisors who come to the Treasury and engage with me. All right? So these advisors, under how many are they? The economic advisors of the President are not even 5. Okay? How much do we pay them compared to, by the way, I'm the one who knows the value now of these people. Initially, I was not understanding them also. Like these people don't understand. There's Okelo.
Yes.
It's right. He doesn't understand. But I engage with David D. By the way, David D, sometimes we disagree and we have very bad fallout. But immediately we finish the meeting, we hug each other. So these people, you also don't want yes, yes, yes people. We want, when we are together, someone comes up with a crazy idea, another one says that can't work. So let this Council of Economic Advice continue to engage with me, advise even me at times, and we work together with my team at the Treasury. In fact, sometimes they call us Treasury Mandarins. You people are too rigid. I tell them now I'm the headmaster of Mandarins. Yeah? You can never touch my Mandarins. My Mandarins must remain.
Okay. Gabi Wakasiaka says or asks, is it true that the executive has captured the Treasury? Nothing happens without its permission. John Mbadi is just a flower girl.
Wow.
Now, who is this? Wakasiaka?
Yes.
Honestly, do you think John Mbadi can be a flower girl in anything? But let me tell you, there is nothing like Treasury being captured. All these estimates, everything, must be approved by the cabinet. They don't belong to Treasury. Treasury is a technical arm, just supporting. The work is the cabinet. It is the cabinet that makes decisions. It's not Treasury. I present the paper before the cabinet. Whoever is saying flower girl, how can a flower girl present a paper?
Okay. Wolves Empire K says, kindly ask Bonawaziri what's happening to our parents' pensions. Why is the Treasury not releasing funds to retirees? Why is it that my mother, who retired over 3 years ago, is not able to access her lump sum? They are waiting for funds.
2 reasons around this retirement, the pension. 2 problems, and I'm working on it. Number 1 is inordinate delay in processing these claims from the line ministries or in the government departments where these people retired from. Inordinate delay, whether TSC, Ministry of Interior, etc. 2, we also have challenge with the resources. You know, we have been running a pension system that is not sustainable. That is why the current system, which is contributory, will be a game changer. But we have been, like last year, we carried forward 26 billion into 2024-25 of arrears of 23-24. Because we are running as a pension system that is defined benefit, which is not sustainable. But we are working on clearing the arrears and transiting. In future, when now we will transit completely to the new system. And the new system is working very well. I've seen the way the returns on investment, about 12% returns, that will sustain that system.
Okay. Most of these have been responded to. Karis _KK asked Mbadi, what's our current debt in one answer? Is that 11
I said 11.02.
How much did we pay in the financial year 23-4-45?
Well, I may not have the exact figures. 24, 25, I can answer 1.1 trillion or close to 1.1 trillion.
2324?
Maybe around 900 and something billion.
Okay. How much are we planning to pay in 25/6?
For the debts?
Yes.
The debt is about 1.3 trillion.
Okay. Of the 4.2 trillion, how much is going to recurrent expenditure?
Well, recurrent expenditure, the development is just about 700 and something. You know, this figure includes even the money that goes to counties. Do you want me to break down all that?
No, don't.
Yeah, so the recurrent, let me just answer.
Yeah.
The development part of the budget is only 26%, but it should be 30%.
Okay, so less than 4%.
Yeah.
Okay, 7_Anthony says, can you ask the CS about the steps the government is taking to reduce unemployment rate in Kenya? What's the actual or the approximate amount of money that broad-based government plans to allocate to address the problem of unemployment, especially among the youth population?
You know, the mistake that sometimes we make is to look at youth or employment as a standalone issue. We must integrate employment in all government activities. That is number one. Number two, all government programs. So the budget should be in a way that we mainstream youth employment into the budget. That is a strategy of this government. One of the areas that we are targeting is how do we make agriculture not be an end in itself, but a means to an end by supporting manufacturing. Agriculture supporting manufacturing by value chain addition. We started so many county aggregated industrial parks in many counties, 12, now 13. The others are also coming along. Migori is leading at 70% in implementation. We want to support. We have put 3 billion in the budget. We are going to put in the next budget 4.5 billion to complete these KIPES so that we can start having manufacturing in all the counties. We create jobs across the country, okay, besides other initiatives of government okay, and the digital space and all the others. So there is a program that I don't think we have enough time to elaborate now.
Okay. Good. BK Informer says, ask Mbadi how he is curing the gap created by the government's domestic borrowing, as many banks prefer lending to the government than private businesses and individuals, affecting circulation in the economy. Yeah,
this is a problem. We are yet to deal with it and fix it, because, again, you have to balance external borrowing vis-a-vis domestic borrowing. The strategy to deal with domestic borrowing is to cut down on borrowing in general, because external borrowing also has a lot of risks. Jeff, when the shilling depreciated to 160 to the dollar, our external debt was at 6 trillion. By shilling appreciating to 130 to the dollar, it has come down to 5 trillion. Without paying anything, you have reduced your debt by 1 trillion. So that tells you that foreign currency fluctuations affect external debt stock drastically. So as we go external, we must also balance it with domestic. So the strategy is cut on the overall deficit. That's why we are coming from 862 billion this year to 832. Then we want to go like that, and in the medium term, we will have a lesser deficit, hence lower domestic borrowing.
Okay. Take Care says, ask the Cabinet Secretary what he is doing to save Kenyans from exorbitant interest rates from commercial banks. Since the repeal of the capping rates in the year 2019, things have been very hard for us borrowers. You borrow 2 million Kenya shillings and pay double or more. This is stealing from us.
Two things. Number one, I have said that we manage our borrowing from the domestic market by being realistic in our budgeting and cutting down on our expenditure and budget deficit. Number two, you can see consistently now we have been reducing the CBR rates and the CRR rate, which now has led to banks following suit. Actually, you'll remember that now, recently, the governor has been holding meetings with the banks. I didn't want to get involved because we have a regulator. And the governor's central bank is very proactive, by the way, Kamau. He calls these banks and he has spoken with them, and you can see the banks have started reducing interest rates. We are urging the banks, because we don't want to go back to the interest control regime. We want to still remain a free market economy because it has a lot of benefits and value.
Okay.
But at the same time, we must talk with the banks to lower interest rates so that we don't crowd out the private sector.
Absolutely.
All right. The next one says, why should the government continue borrowing from itself? Government agencies have fixed deposited billions in banks, yet allocation to those institutions are done annually. Recall all fixed deposits that have not been attached to any project, then reallocate to priority projects.
You know, this is something I've also checked and I've seen there are a lot of our government agencies having money with putting money in fixed deposit, etc., and then we are borrowing. But again, you have to be very cautious here. If today, you know, running an economy is not a walk in the park. It is not that simple. And you have to be very careful. And that is why you need people who understand it. If you just recall all the fixed deposits today, you will crush the financial sector of this country. I'll tell you. You'll create a panic that you have never seen. There would be a bank run, and that is the end of the economy. You can't do that. You have to be very careful.
Okay.
Urge them, please don't put money in fixed deposit. You make sure you put a little bit. Because banks also need money to loan you. Good. Where do they get money to loan?
All right. Njehe_Kiari says, ask CS about processing of death gratuity and pensions of civil servants. Some workers at the National Treasury are demanding bribes so as to process the money. For me, it's been hectic. I have been following my dad's file, who was a civil servant. I
wish this gentleman could give me some information about these people at the Treasury who are misbehaving. And this may not be inaccurate. You know, Kenyans are interesting. We take money even from the dead. We don't care. How I wish I could get, even anonymously, some information. Then we institute investigation and we send some of these people home. There are so many Kenyans who actually really want to work in these offices, but they can't work there because there are already people who are sitting in those offices and they are demanding bribes. Take them home, bring new people. I wish that person could get me, even anonymously, that information.
It's someone we can get to because he has tagged our X handle. Kindly ask, says CPA Onyango, CS Mbadi, with the increment of financial budget 25-26, have they allocated budget for absorption of the youth, especially previous cohort of public service intern programs, to permanent and pensionable terms? The head of public service annual report indicated there's shortage of 113,000 workers.
Well, you know, we have a general freeze on government employment because our wage bill is too high. It's at 80 billion per month, as I said. And just the other day, it was at 75. It has increased by 5%. Why? Because of the CBAs that we have implemented, the one with the teachers, the one with the lecturers, the one with the health personnel and all that. So, under the police, and we have increased the money for KDA, our armed forces, we have increased all these forces. Now, yes, there are some people who will be employed, some interns, teachers, etc. But it may not be such a massive employment. In fact, the main objective of interns is to equip them with some experience and some technical capacity to be able to get absorbed into the market. What we must be working on is not for government to employ more people. We should have a government that creates an environment where people come and invest to employ. The government's business is not to create to employ people.
Right.
Kanyaga Yeye says, what's the current allowable cash limit to be moved outside EFT? Before we go to the next one.
No, I need to check that. I don't think
How much tax do miners pay and the mining activity generate to the exchequer?
That's, again, I didn't have the figure with me. I wish I got this question. Do you have a system where people send questions in advance? Are you?
It's live.
It's real time.
No, but when they know I'm coming, some of this, because this is someone who needs some information.
Yeah.
So when I'm coming, if they are informed to send their question in advance.
And most of these come in the course of the discussion.
Yeah, then you could send. But if there is that provision, we could check this. And then I send them to you.
All right, traceable. Mwangi Wamasa says, what is the CS doing to address the following? Youth unemployment, we talked about that. Skills mismatch, slow job creation in key sectors, support SMEs, encourage FDI, or is the CS blaming all of the above to debt servicing?
No, I've not blamed anything on anything. Debt servicing will be with us here. It is with many economists. It cannot be used as an excuse. We must encourage FDI by making business environment friendly. And if you look at the business laws that we brought in December, a lot of it was meant to address the issue of investment in this country. Support to SMEs, I think, again here, we have a lot. Look, we have even put money to support KCC, money to support coffee, money to support, well, the Hustler Fund is on, we know. It is serving about 24 million Kenyans have gotten that money, out of which, with a repayment rate of 79%, but those who are repeat borrowers are about 8.9 million. Some people are doing very well with this. And of course, we have other funds which are not being utilized very well. Oparanya is on this.
Okay.
Now, on the skills mismatch we have just talked about, this should start from the training institutions. And that is why TVET is important. But it is also important that we redirect our universities. I think something needs to be done on university education. We need, again, to refocus universities. If it is University of Nairobi is specializing in certain skills, like maybe medicine, engineering, as we used to know, that Dar es Salaam University was for law, I think Nairobi University was for engineering, and then is it Makerere, which was for medicine. You see, such is what the focus we need. We created too many universities which are all general. We need to refocus our universities, our training institution to provide skills.
Okay. Says Arwas, can you ask Mbadi, who keeps saying our economy is growing, to show the actual level of growth and what Kenya exports the most to drive this growth? Many see Kenya as just a warehouse.
You know, sometimes I wonder whether we really take time to analyze. These are not figures that Mbadi has created. These are figures. The same people who are compiling this data are the same ones who compiled the data during Kibaki time, during Moi time, during Uhuru's time. Our economy grew at 4.6%, lower than it was in 2023 at 5.3. We are projecting 5.3 growth. What is driving this growth? Agricultural sector. Look at what has happened in the tea sector, flower sector. Can I tell you something, Jeff?
Go on.
We produced 182,000 tons of sugar in this country last year. The importation that you used to go to the shelves and find there is no sugar is not there anymore. Look at maize. 2024, 61 million bags, up from 30 in 2023. Is that not growth? It is a growth. So there has been growth in the agricultural sector, in the financial sector. We've just seen a bank that has made 20 billion net profit. Okay? With what percentage growth? Was it 45%?
Something like
Is that figure compiled by Mbadi? So, I mean, we should also appreciate when certain things work.
Okay.
We should not just be negative that this has not worked.
Okay.
Yes.
Owen Frank 18 says, Mamamboga cannot understand GDP, A in A, IMF, ETC, GDC. Which mega projects can the CS propose to do away with that will help reduce our debt or tax burden if he was the president today? How bad would it be if we used our revenues only to finance the government of Kenya operations?
That would be very bad because the economy would not grow. You also need to invest in capital expenditure. But was he saying that we stop paying debts? You can't stop paying debt. A sovereign that defaults in debt, that economy is ruined completely. You can't do that. But you see, he says Mamamboga does not understand. That is why I've been going to Mamamboga, so that I can make them understand. I think probably on the first CS to go to Jivanjiga, they engage Kenyans directly.
Correct.
I was in Mombasa, and I engaged youth, mostly from the university, and they asked all sorts of questions. Some discomforting, but I said I'm ready for them. Now, what we need to do to make people understand what we are doing is tell them the truth, like we are saying that pending bills is still choking the economy. And that is why we are paying about 50 billion from next week going forward to road constructors.
This one is from Ekuru Okot, the Third Way Alliance Party of Kenya leader. To CS Honorable John Mbadi, why has the National Treasury ignored Jimmy Wanjigi's debt heist report exposing odious illegal loans taken without Parliament's nod? And what has become of President William Ruto's task force on Kenya's debt crisis? Kenyans deserve answers. Is it their taxes paying the debt?
Ekuru Okot, being a lawyer, knows very well that...
Okay, it continues. He says the least Treasury can do is at least respond to the Jimmy Wanjigi debt heist report, even if it's to dismiss it by presenting their own numbers and their data to prove Wanjigi's report is a hoax. But they haven't. This shows that Jimmy Wanjigi report has a strong case.
When I came to the Treasury, I said, not because I have not checked those figures and I've seen what they mean and what they are, and I've already even mentioned them here. But I said, to bring confidence, I invited the Auditor General to come and audit. She's still going on with the audit work. This is the person who has been employed by the people of Kenya to do that job. And I've invited her to come to the Treasury. We had an entry meeting, and they're doing that work transparently and openly to demystify the Jimmy Wanjigi case. Because to me, I've seen it is sensational about nothing. And Ekuru Okot, being a lawyer, knows very well that people questioned the committee that the president said, the legality of it, the constitutionality of it. And that is why we have invited the Auditor General. So what else does he want National Treasury to do beyond that, besides that? Or
so timings, when do we expect that audit report to be?
You know, Auditor is an independent office. You know, you are the same people who, Ayub.
Yeah. If
I start telling Auditor, I need this report by April, you will be up in arms telling me I am directing an independent office. Yeah.
Ogeke Araka says, please, Jeff Koinange, ask CS Mbadi to comment on the current level of corruption in government. Again, most economic fraud is perpetuated by the powerful persons in government. Any current measures to mitigate the menace?
It is true. If you are not powerful, how do you steal from the government? You will be caught. So those who steal from the government are powerful people. That is correct. I cannot tell exactly what is the level of corruption, but I think it is still very high. And that is why, number one, corruption starts from budgeting. We are going for zero-based budgeting. We want to standardize prices of commodities and items. If you're buying a pen, if you're buying this pen on the 9th floor, it should be the same price as the first floor. We are standardizing the prices. We have put a tool in the system, a budgeting tool in the IFMIS to standardize prices. Number two, at the procurement, we are going e-procurement. We are going to reduce human interaction. We are also going to accrual basis, where we are now going to capture everything, government assets, government liabilities, so that you don't hide some below the line. They all appear on the body of the balance sheet and the revenue statement. So we are doing a lot. Single account is being implemented, single treasury account. So these are steps that we are sure will reduce drastically the theft and plunder of public funds. It's not corruption, okay. It's theft of public funds.
Mbadi, the final one. John Mbadi brings an intriguing presence. He says he seems well-versed with numbers, but it's still a bit unclear how the proposed solutions, if any, actually exist, will ease the current financial strain on the economy. That's the final one.
Ayub, didn't I say that we must liability manage? Didn't I say we have to broaden the tax base? Didn't I say that we have to grow the economy? Because how do you grow the economy? Look at sectors that have been sluggish, that have not been growing very well. Like manufacturing used to contribute about 7.6% to our GDP. Now it is below, it's 2%, 2.6%, 2.7%. We must grow manufacturing. There is no country which will do very well, unless you are a super tourist economy, like Dubai.
Correct.
If you have to grow, Kenya has only been surviving very strongly because of agricultural sector, which is which we are not adding any value, because of financial sector, and to a little extent on tourism. We have to bring back manufacturing to play its rightful role in economic growth.
Waziri, finally, I'll give you the last word going forward. What do you tell Kenyans? Because Kenyans are very impatient. They want results now.
You know, the only thing I would tell Kenyans is that it takes time to repair anything. even a house that starts leaking, you have to take a little time to repair it. But it will not be inordinately long. We are repairing this leaking house. They should allow us to repair it by being patient and not distorting facts and not playing politics with everything. If something is working, if, for example, the prices of 1 kilogram of sugar has come down from 200 like it was last year in January to 166, we should appreciate that and say, Mbadi, please, the government should maintain that price or even lower it. We have given subsidy to fertilizer subsidy. This year, we first allocated 7.5. We have just allocated another 6.1. That is 13.6 billion. We need 19, but 13.6 billion. You see how fertilizer subsidy has revolutionized maize production, tea, and all that. That is the way to go. Remember, for example, KCC. KCC has moved from taking or uptaking 100,000 liters per day to 220,000 liters per day in 1 year by subsidy and support given to them. We have just released 1 billion to KCC through this supplementary budget. Coffee, we want to move the production from 51,000 metric tons to 151. And we have just allocated through this supplementary budget. The government has just allocated. The president has just assented to that money. We have a plan. It's only that there is too much talk around. I don't want to call it noise. Okay. Kenyans must talk. But sometimes the talk can be distract. We are going to stay the course, appreciate where you should appreciate, criticize where you should criticize, and let us move together as a nation. We only have one nation, Jeff.
That's it. There's no other Kenya.
There is no other Kenya. Either we stay here and make it better, or we let it go to the dogs.
Yeah, we
and
shut it
we'll have
down.
no country.
John Mbadi, great economics and finance lesson tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Appreciate your time.
You. And thank you.
Thank you. Burning midnight oil. It's already midnight.
2 minutes past.
I'm sure you're going to be at work first thing in the morning.
At 6:30.
Good Lord. I'll be here at 4.
Oh, you are even worse. But I think you will rest after that.
Yes.
That's the difference. Yes. Thank you very much.
John Mbadi, Cabinet Secretary, Treasury and Economic Planning, breaking it down, literally breaking down the numbers. Because that's what it's all about, folks. Like he says, there's only one Kenya. And we all got to put all hands on deck to build this Kenya. There's no other. Where are we going to go? Do the math. Thanks so much for being a part of the show. You know, if it's Wednesday, it's all about those 3 letters on the keyboard that follow each other. JKL. Thanks for being a part of this show, folks. Good night. Good luck. God bless you all.